Welcome to Direct Mobiles TV and a review of the very attractive Honor 20, slotting into the middle of the Honor 20 series with a price tag of £399. This device could be where the smart money is, because as well as it having the same dazzling dynamic holographic back panel as the more expensive Pro, it also shares the same camera system. Honor are well known by now for producing very interesting back panels with their flagship devices, but this time they've really outdone themselves. It's an extremely difficult manufacturing process that involves 3 separate layers. The depth layer is engraved with millions of tiny prisms to deform the light. The next is the color layer. In this case, it's sapphire blue, and then it's finished off with the glass layer. The result is a very striking 3D holographic effect. It is a flamboyant design, but it doesn't stop there. The Honor 20 also features a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which also doubles as a power button. Personally, I do like a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, and it is nice that it is also a button, as this prevents you accidentally unlocking your phone. Just above there you'll find the volume rockers. At the top there is an infrared blaster, and then on the left side you'll find the SIM tray, which does support dual SIMs or 1 SIM and memory expansion up to 512 gigs. And then underneath there is USB Type-C connectivity and a single down-firing speaker. Around the front is a 6.3-inch IPS LCD screen, 1080 by 2340 resolution, and with the smallest punch hole camera that we've seen yet at 4.5mm. I find that having a smaller hole in your display does make a difference. It is definitely less distracting than the whole cutout display that is in the Honor View 20. The camera inside that hole is a 32 megapixel unit that does give very good results, showing a big improvement on previous Honor devices. In fact, we've been extremely impressed with the camera performance all round on this phone, which isn't really surprising considering the array of cameras and sensors that this phone carries. The Honor 20 has 4 cameras across the back, the main sensor being a 48 megapixel Sony IMX586, which typically will deliver a 12 megapixel image by combining the data from 4 pixels down to 1. At the moment, we're seeing more and more smartphones, flagship and mid-range, being equipped with this high-performance sensor. In fact, it is the very same sensor that is in the View 20, but the software this time around seems to be much more optimized, and for me, the Honor 20 at the moment seems to be the best of the bunch. As well as the 48 megapixel sensor, there is also a 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle camera with fixed focus and an f2.4 lens. There is also a 2 megapixel depth sensor and an additional 2 megapixel macro lens. 2 megapixels doesn't sound like much, but I think they've gone with that number because 2 megapixels is the same as a full HD image at 1080p. Viewing back on this screen, at least we'll use up all the pixels. And actually, when you look at the portrait and the macro shots, they look great. Yes, it would have been nice to have more megapixels, but in day-to-day use, I really have no reason to complain about the camera in the Honor 20. The AI seems just as responsive and as intelligent as the current smartphone photography champ from Honor's parent company, the P30 Pro. It quickly adjusts the settings to make the most of any given situation. For example, it will automatically switch to its portrait mode if it recognizes a face in the scene. As it uses its depth sensor to gauge its portraits, it's not quite as accurate as the portrait shots that we get from the Honor View 20, as that uses a 3D time-of-flight sensor, but they are still very pleasing. Shooting at 48 megapixels is also possible with Honor's own ultra clarity shot, best used with a tripod in my opinion, although it still performs exceptionally well handheld. Hit the shutter and it will take multiple 48 megapixel exposures, and then using the same technique it does for its 12 megapixel shots, combines all that data to give you a very sharp and large image. Again, I feel like there is improvements with the AI stabilization in this mode when compared to the View 20. You also get great video performance with this phone, with a max resolution of 4K at 30 frames per second, and with good stabilization even at this resolution. 1080 60 frames per second is also available, as well as Honor's usual 960 frames per second super slow motion. Under the skin, this phone is just as well equipped as the more expensive Huawei phones. You're getting a Kirin 980 chipset with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of onboard storage, a good battery capacity at 3750 mAh, and the very latest Magic UI software, which is Honor's take on Huawei's EMUI. The Honor 20 also comes with Super Bluetooth, made possible by its Kirin 980 chipset. This is able to keep a Bluetooth connection at a distance of over 240 meters, although that is without walls or barriers in the way. We also get virtual 9.1 surround sound powered by Hisense 6.0. This is the first time that this cutting-edge technology has been applied to smartphones. It separates incoming audio into channels and then applies its surround sound effect. supporting all types of wired and wireless headphones, with inbuilt dual microphones for noise reduction. Honor have really packed a lot into this phone. It's a great one for photographers and for music lovers alike, and with the free and exclusive Wonder outfit skin for Fortnite players, and of course the GPU Turbo 3.0, it's one for the gamers too. This really is a solid handset, and thanks to its price to performance ratio, this one comes highly recommended from us. We have over 24 years of award-winning customer service, so find your next phone at Direct Mobiles.